What's up, everybody? The V Club here, coming at you with another video. The Villain Club, anything and everything, nothing's off the table. So, with that, let's talk about it. All right. So, if you missed yesterday, I talked about the whole Derek Chauvin, George Floyd situation case. That I guess an appeal is coming into place on a federal level, and I honestly think, that should be overturned based on evidence and all that. That you had a wrongful conviction, and the evidence supports that. I mean, it's not like a black man versus a white man type of thing. It's just more like common sense and evidence to back it up. And the coroners and anybody that tried to document stuff were strong armed and forced because you had woke progressives that were trying to, at the time, try to just change the social justice system, and they try to do it forcefully. So good to see that things are changing. It took 4 years to figure that out. That criminal justice doesn't need to be reformed. If anything, just additional training. If anything, and that's what law enforcement always does is training. But criminal justice doesn't need to be reformed. All right, we need laws, and we need laws to be enforced. And if you enforce laws and people commit crime and you lock people up, crime goes down. I mean, it's just common sense. Anyhow, let's talk about what's going on. All right, so we all know about that. All right, the Derek Chauvin thing. Wanted to bring up a couple things in California. All right, so a couple things in California. So you're talking about this Newsom missing 24 billion under fire, governor under fire. What else is new? I mean, this is gonna be a California focus because I also want to talk about besides the homeless. That's what the 24 billion you're talking about is missing. Squatters, right? Because it kind of ties into that, right? Squatters, homeless. You get it, right? It's all about homes. So California has expensive real estate because they always keep complaining that we have a shortage of homes when we really don't. We just have overpriced homes, and the demand for it has been fueled by so-called homeless and then so-called illegals, right, that come into the border that are pushing for homes that are pretty much just given to them by your politician there, Gavin Newsom. All right, so 24 billion goes missing. All right, and I've said it before. I've talked about this time and time again that it's there was no accounting for where the 24 billion went. All right, so people got upset. I'm surprised there's not more people were upset about 24 billion gone missing and no accounting for how it was used, how it was spent, and there hasn't been more outrage about that, right? And it just be like, yeah, 24 billion spent, and the funny thing is that the homeless problem got worse. All right, he came into office like in 2018 or something like that, and throughout this time, 24 billion spent on homeless, and the problem got worse. Like statistically, they said that California makes up a third of the overall homeless population in the United States. So think about that. So let's just say 33% of all homeless in the United States is in California. Is that crazy? Just to kind of wrap your head around. And it hasn't gotten any better, it's gotten worse. And then, they catered towards illegals more than the homeless itself, right? And then gruesome, right, has gone on to do stupid shit like clean up San Francisco when you have, President Xi from China come visit in San Francisco for their business meeting or whatever that they had set up conference, at the Moscone Center, which is the convention center in San Francisco, and he just went ahead and cleaned it up literally overnight, just like that, like a snap of the finger. And everybody knew that, yeah, give it a few days after the convention, right? They had heavy enforcement. They moved all the homeless out of the areas close to the convention center, cleaned up the streets, like literally cleaned it up, scrubbed, you know, power wash all the shit stains off the streets and sidewalks. And everybody knew that once they leave town, give it a few days, it'll be back to the way it was, right? Homeless move right back in where they were. And, it's just business as usual with homeless people in San Francisco. And so it's shit like that, right? I mean, how much money was spent doing that? Right? Just to clean it up for a few days, and then that's it, right? And so, but other than that, 24 billion missing. That's supposed to be, utilized for homeless, but yet the problem got worse in California. And then you look at illegals that come in through the border because now they no longer go to Texas, they no longer go to Arizona because the borders are virtually closed. Texas is closed. Arizona, I think they had limitations, but pretty much closed it. And so it kind of pushed everything to our super sanctuary state that Gavin Newsom says, with our open border, right? And everybody's flooding San Diego, and I got a friend that lives in San Diego and talks about how it's gotten so bad in San Diego, just in general, because you just see just people everywhere, right? That are not from San Diego, all right? And it's pretty funny. Just to see how bad things are. And so, with all the illegals coming in, they're driving up the demand at the same time, shrinking the supply because Newsom is giving them everything, right? Giving them insurance, giving them money, giving them food, giving them a place to live. So that leaves resources used, or that's supposed to be used for homeless and things like that. You know, illegitimately utilized, and then that's it. It's gone. So it's funny. All right, and we all know the problem with that fuels homeless is that it's not just they're so down low on luck and we gotta they just can't find a place to live and they're having going through hard times. Again, everybody knows that it's beyond just that. That's just the surface. But below that surface, we all know that they have addiction problems, right? Drug addiction. A majority of them have a drug addiction problem, right? And my whole solution I've been saying all along is that we have closed down prisons, right? And courtesy of Gavin Newsom because he wants to free all the criminals and because he thinks it's a waste of money to house prisoners, so he wants to free them to allow them to continue to do their crimes, which drives up cost. It drives up safety issues, right? And then it drives people out, right? Out of state. It drives businesses out of state because people don't want to live here. People don't want to do business here anymore. So Gavin, again, has caused more problems. But besides that point I was just trying to make a second ago, we have closed down prisons. All right. We could repurpose them or reopen them if you want to say that. Besides reopening them to rehouse criminals once again, right? Because we have Prop 36, thank goodness, right? We're fighting crime once again, right? But at the same time, we could use these places as well. And of course, what do addicted people have in common? They commit crimes too, right? To feed their addiction. So if they commit crimes to feed their addiction, they get arrested, they get locked up, right? And that's where you could I guess you say, co-purpose the prisons to help house them and fight their addictions, right? Um, you could even repurpose maybe a couple of different prisons within the state to where it's just specifically for mental and drug addicted people to overcome and you know get out of, right? And once they get cleaned up, do their time because they, of course, they committed crimes to feed their addiction, then those specific people that are housed in these, a couple of places can get released, right? Um, and to me, that's, and then they're given a choice, right? Are they clean enough to be responsible to go get a job and do all the things that they can and back in society, or are they going to go back to getting arrested once again? And if they get arrested and locked up once again, then they do more time. That's just like any other criminals out there. I mean, oh my gosh, right? Isn't that crazy? It's a crazy concept. But yeah, so that's what we really need to do, and Gruesom's not going to do it. And if supposedly Kamala's the next in line, you guys are a bunch of dumbass, numbnut idiots, all right? If you guys voted for Newsom, you guys are going to vote for Kamala because you guys are a bunch of idiots and retards, that you guys are just plain stupid to just go through all this bullshit nonsense. All right, I mean, come on, you guys got to wake up. All right, um, in order to fight the dumbass decision making from idiots like Newsom, who can just, all these Democrats, they got a problem, right? They like to blow budgets, they like to overspend, but they don't like to hold themselves accountable for nothing. There hasn't been any big outrage for the 24 billion went missing, that we all know that he has pocketed with NGOs and other so-called non-charitable organizations, non-governmental organizations, and other possible other politicians, and all these causes and idiots. Basically, they all just took a piece of that pie is what they did. All right. And Democrats are so corrupt that I don't know why you guys can't see that. And so there was outrage for Kamala spending a billion, 2 billion, all right, whatever, in 3 months, which is a lot. But 24 billion in a span of what, 5, 6 years? All right, that's a lot too. That's way more when you break it down. It's like shit. And it doesn't have anything to show for it because it's gotten worse. So hopefully you guys can get the message on that. And then bring in this right here, Squatters Paradise, because California and like many other states, well, I don't know about many other states. There's a handful of states, I'll just say, but California primarily has a renter's problem, right? Because California is so woke and so stupid when it comes to, again, politicians and their decision making, that squatters, renters have more rights than the people that are providing the place to rent, right? The renters. So it's like, well, shit. Then what's the purpose of trying to rent a place that you own if the rentees and then eventual squatters, if they stop paying rent, how do they have more rights than the owners themselves, right? And that's the part that nobody can wrap their head around because it doesn't make any sense, right? It does not make any sense. So when you look at it, you got to give notice, right? It's a law to give notice to evict. But not only that, because let's just say they choose not to evict, even though you give notice. Well, now they can squat, and you got to go through this court system to try to force them out. It could be a process that costs a lot of money and time, and there are times that it doesn't side with the people that rented it out. And you got to go through this whole process and maybe get lucky that you can finally get the squatters out. And by that time, it takes months, possibly a year or so, to even get the squatters out of your own place that you own. And it's the same thing, it's like, why is that? It does not make any sense. And then when we went through COVID, right, California put a moratorium on eviction notices. So, you couldn't evict people because they wanted to make sure that people are on their feet and able, because a lot of people lost jobs during COVID and all that stuff. So they wanted to make sure that you weren't holding people's feet to the fire because we went through some rough times and stuff. But that time is up. But yeah, there's, I think Oakland was like the last city that had this sort of eviction moratorium, which is stupid. But anyhow, I would not ever want to be a person that would rent my place ever to anybody. Rent a room, rent my house. I would never ever do that because the renters slash squatters have more rights than you yourself that own the place. And there's some shady stuff too, to where some people will break in and then stake claim to the property, and all of a sudden, when you find out, it's like, I never rented this to you, or I never gave you anything here, and they say, yeah, you did, and then they make a claim of it, and then it's like, you try to call the police, police can't do nothing, then you try to go through the system, and it's just stupid. The whole thing is stupid, and I think, to me, it's just going back to common sense, right? Like this whole Trump that wants to do this whole mass deportation, right? He's going to go after illegals, round them up, fly them out, right? Same thing with squatters, all right? On a low scale, if you don't pay the rent, okay, you might have a chance. You might have a 30-day window because whatever happened. Okay, we'll give you a chance. Oh shit, now that's the second time you didn't pay the rent. Okay, well now the owner has discretion, right? I'll give you another chance or I'm going to kick you out. Well, it's 50-50 chance on that one, right? So let's just say the owner says, nah, I'm done. I'm kicking you out. The owner should have the right to kick him out just like that, because that's, 1 to 2 times already you didn't come up with the rent. Sorry about your luck. All right. Maybe you'll find a better place. Maybe you'll handle it better next time. You can't come up with the money. Sorry, I got things to do. I gotta, other people to rent to. I'm gonna do that. So that's the way it should be, right? Just like if you're illegal and you came here illegally, and on top of that, I mean, it's already a crime in itself, but let's just say you're a guest now in this country, right? You're a guest. Well, if you're a guest and you commit a crime, whether it's stealing, let alone murder somebody, right? I mean, it's just automatic deportation. I mean, it's automatic. You're a guest and you're ruining the party. It's an automatic kick out, right? It's just like anything else in life, right? You come over to someone's house as a guest. You did something stupid, unruly, whatever, right? They created a situation. What do? They kick you out of the house, right? Because now you became an unwanted guest because you did something wrong. What's the difference with kicking people out of our border if they did something wrong in our country? It's the same common sense concept. All right. So anyhow, I just wanted to just share my thoughts with you guys about this whole homeless and renters and eviction bullshit. If anything, we gotta evict Gavin out of office because he's straight garbage. All right, doesn't know how to spend money, and then that's all he does is spend money, but he doesn't know how to spend it wisely. And then please, please, please don't vote for Obama. But you guys are dummies and will vote for her to be the next governor anyways. We're stuck with him because you guys are a bunch of idiots that you can't even recall him because you guys just love pain and punishment, right? But anyhow, share with me your thoughts. Do you agree with that? You guys love the pain, you love the punishment from this socialism politician, right? Because Democrats love control, right? They love to control everything. They keep taxing, taxing, taxing. Oh, we'll spend and we'll make you pay for it, right? Obviously, that's what they're doing. But anyhow, let me share with me your thoughts. Do you agree with me or not? All right. Comment down below. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and daily updates and stuff. I think I'm going to talk about birthright citizenship in the next video. If nothing else that comes crazy that needs to be talked about would be the next one, then I'm going to talk about birthright citizenship. Anyhow, thanks, and I'll see you next one.